Welcome to Courageous Conversations. Today we have Satish with us, and we're going to talk about his life journey. And one of the important things that we always keep saying is about, that people should have vision in their life. We tell young people in school that they need to have vision in life, and that is good. But sometimes vision evolves, or purpose in life evolves as we go along, as we experience life situations and life circumstances. So we're going to talk to Satish about that. But the two other people I love are Avi and Jenny. He's Avi's father and Jenny's husband. And trust me, they are more interesting than him. And if you meet them, they're absolutely amazing people. And I met Avi a couple of months ago, and he had a long conversation with me. I mean, not a conversation. He talked, I listened. And it's a fun journey. So Satish, we're going to talk about life. And I think from the time I knew Satish, he was always in leadership starting from youth fellowship onwards. We've seen him grow, we've seen him mature, and today he's kind of quite a popular leader in Bangalore, doing different things to help people become better. And Satish, welcome to Courageous Conversations.
Thanks, Amit.
And let's start off hearing from the time I knew you. What was it like being part of a youth fellowship, then you went abroad,
Yeah.
and what has been the journey like?
Yeah. Well, it's been an interesting journey for sure. And I can relate to a lot of what you said. I started my journey totally lost, right? I grew up in early 2000s, and as you say, the great Indian dream back then was grew up in Hyderabad along with you. So every family in the neighborhood had a son or a daughter who was a techie living in the US. So that was the dream, right? So I took up software, knew from day one of college that I wasn't meant for it, right? I wasn't good at it, and I didn't like it. What I really loved, of course, was being part of the youth group.
Right.
And that was my zone, just working with people, working with young people, understanding what leadership is, about everything, and what it takes to motivate and inspire people. That was really my zone. So after I finished my graduation, which took me a while, and it was a lot of effort to just put myself through that, I went to the UK, spent a couple of years there. And in my head, I was not coming back. I was like, okay, I've got that great Indian dream. I found a way to get out of India. But came back to get married, of all the things. We were very young, Jenny and I. Jenny was 24, I was 25. Marriage was nowhere on the radar, but we came back just for a month. And it was a hustle and bustle of all the good fat Indian weddings you can think of. And 3 days before my wedding, got a call from my supervisor saying, hey Satish, I'm really sorry, your work permit didn't come through, you cannot come back, right? So on the day of my wedding, I'm sitting at the altar, and it dawned on me that I have no job, I have no money, and I'm getting married, right? No place to live. I think I almost had a panic attack, but luckily, just about at the right time, the pastor said, let's welcome the bride. I turn around, I see Jenny walking up the aisle, and the first thought I had was, as long as she is with me, and we're both going to take what God throws our way and stay faithful, we're going to be fine, right? So that's how that journey started.
So, today, this getting visa is a big thing, right? Suddenly you'll see a lot of prayer requests coming, my son wants to go to US. And then when you get a US or a UK or whatever it is, and then you get a visa approval, then you say, praise the Lord. And then they figure out, no, God's will is not happening or happening. Praise the Lord, God has taken them to a better place, a better land. But you're sitting here and saying that visa rejection is something nice that happened to you.
If you'd asked me that 15 years ago, I would have said, I don't understand what God is saying.
Right.
These are the things you can look back in hindsight,
Right.
and you see God's hand through all this.
Yeah.
Right. And not that getting that call from my supervisor and saying, hey, your work permit didn't come through was the best thing that happened to me.
Right.
And what happened post that is what brought me closer to my own purpose and calling and going through that very rough patch in life and then finding what I really wanted to do.
Right.
Right. So definitely. Yeah.
So after you were marriage happened, you moved to Bangalore.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you started off in Bangalore, came here to run a business.
Sure.
So how did that go?
Yeah. So after we got married, I was totally lost, right? So I lost that great Indian dream of finding a way to get out of India. So I was like, hey, what is the new dream, right? Like I was trying to figure that out, and I think we asked that $1 million question. We all asked, do I go the 9 to 5 way, get a corporate job, or do the startup way? And I would like to say I made a very brave decision, but I think I made a really stupid decision saying, hey, I'm going to move to Bangalore, run this HR firm, right? And we wanted it to be socially driven HR firm, to be honest, right? So I was going to make that $1 million, help 1 million people, do a TED talk. That was a new dream, right? So we moved to Bangalore, but I had no clue what I was doing.
Right.
So it took me quite a few years to learn business. And running a business is a fairly complex thing. You're learning right from how to manage your finances to how to manage teams to how to manage clients. It took me a good 2-3 years to kind of get into that groove and really learn. But what I learned because I was in the HR space is the reality of the society that we live in. It's really a society of haves and have-nots, right? On one side you have so much, on the other side you have absolutely nothing. And I say that because as we recruited youngsters, especially, that was a space we were in. On one side I had these young people who went to all these really fancy colleges, could speak flawless English, very tech savvy. They already had 4 job offers, but they wanted to know if I had a better job offer for them.
Right.
And I literally had to beg them to take up a job. Whereas on the other hand, we had young people who are equally talented, but they had studied in government schools and colleges. They couldn't speak English, or they were not tech savvy, and they were desperate for a job. So I think just sort of really experiencing that on day-to-day basis, we really came to a place saying, hey, is there something we can do? And that thought sort of started the journey that I'm on, 10 years later, saying, what is my space? What is my calling? What is my purpose? So finding that was really important.
So I remember, I think it was 2008, 2009, the recession when it happened. So I am aware that was a tough phase for your life, but this new journey that you're on, was it something that started around the same time, or at least you start thinking about it around the same time?
Yeah, it was around 2009, 2010, and both things kind of happened parallelly. It took me a lot of effort to build that business, and then the recession happened and everything fell apart. Right. And that was literally sort of going through the wilderness, right? It's like, hey, the first thing didn't work out, which I really thought it was God's will, and everyone's saying, hey, you should go and do this, and then that didn't work out, and then we built this, and then we were really stressing ourselves out. We were totally burnt out, and one side we thought we're doing, the whole purpose of doing this was to help people.
Yeah.
But life had just become clients and deadlines and targets, so I really felt fake, right? And then when recession happened, it completely knocked me out, right? And I really felt lost. But I think God has that thing, right? When you're at the rock bottom, then that's when you really sort of start seeking answers. And God has a way to kind of bring beauty out of ashes, right? And especially when you have nothing to lose, right? You're willing to say, God, tell me what is it that you really want me to do? So fortunately, around the same time, Ajit and I started working together for whatever reasons. And God really started putting this burden on our hands, saying, hey, what can you do for these kids who are struggling? So we did what we could do at that point, which is we had an office. And
Can I just interrupt? Just before you get on to that journey that you and Ajit had, I just wanted to ask you on the things that you said that you hit rock bottom and then things didn't work out. And the reason I just interrupted, I'm sorry about that, was that uh, in the last 2 years, there are many people who have hit rock bottom. All right. Many people are like business have collapsed or lost jobs
Sure.
and things like that. Is there anything that you can tell them out of your experience how to pull themselves out?
Yeah.
One or two words, and then we'll continue on that journey. Because I know that it's a similar times for many people who are
Yeah.
going through this right now.
Yeah. I think my lesson, and as I said, this lot of this you can do in a hindsight, right? When you're going through it, it's tough,
Right.
and there's no way around it,
Yeah.
right? But if there is one lesson that I have learned in 10 years of being lost and kind of really experiencing life at rock bottom is that God is in control,
Man.
right? And there is a way, there's a way God has this way of everything that you've gone through in life, He's able to bring it together. Right? These are like pieces of jigsaw puzzle. They don't make sense in isolation. Right? You look at it and say, why is this happening? Right? But God in His time sort of brings those pieces, and then you start looking at the whole picture. It's like, this is perfect.
Right.
Right? So right now you're looking at one piece. You're looking at it and saying, why? And I'm sure all of us have have asked that question the last 2 years. But just hold on. Right, and 10 years from back now, or 5 years from now, when you look back, you will see the big picture,
Right.
and it is going to make sense.
Yeah.
And that's the hope you got to hold on to.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah, I
that's
think
my
that's good, because I think it's important that we hang in there, not to give up on situations, circumstances, because it is a tough journey for everybody. And I think one thing it's good to know is everybody's together in it. But there is hope. There is hope which we can hold on to, and things can move on. And yeah, let's continue with that. I think you and Ajit started working, and then you started seeing some new things that you need to be doing.
Yeah. So I think the first thing we did is say, what can we do? I mean, we obviously had no money, no resources, nothing. We were just a bunch of young people. But what we did have is we had a tiny office, and we knew the community that was next to us. So we invited about 15 kids to come. And after office hours, the office was empty. So the kids would come and we would teach them English.
All right.
Right? And we started that with 15 kids. And to be honest, going back to your first question, we had no vision. We were not visionaries. We just took what was in our hands and said, what can we do with it?
Yeah.
Right? And that's how it started. But how it spiraled out, we went from teaching 15 kids to 30 to 50 to 100. And the people who were teaching were like just 6 friends, 7 friends,
Yeah.
Ajit, me, and our wives, and a couple of other friends, a couple of other colleagues. And then a lot more people started joining and saying, hey, can we come and be part of it? And that's really spiraled out, right? And what started in a tiny office in Frasertown, Bangalore, with 15 kids is now spread over 35 cities.
Wow.
And that's about how can you be faithful with the little that you have, right? And then see God's hand where it takes you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we also need to remember that when we are talking about vision, in this context, Satish brings out beautifully what happens is that vision evolves when you get your hands dirty. Because what Satish said was they started doing the work because they saw a need. And vision comes when you are sensitive to the needs around you, and when you start meeting those small needs, a vision evolves. And I think that's exactly what happened with you. It's not, as you said, like, it was not like a big vision you are going behind, but you started meeting people's needs.
Sure.
And then things became bigger, and kind of you got clarity for what you've been doing. Now, has that journey about meeting people needs, how has it been? I mean, for you and your family, was it hard? Was it easy? Or were the phases of both happening in your life?
Yeah. I like what you said, the whole how vision unfolds. The way I put it is this, right? Sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, I think majority of us, right? We have the ability to dream through vision, but what a lot of times we lack the audacity to act on it,
Right.
right? And for that audacity, you need God, right? And sometimes I say this: you don't need faith to move mountains. You just need little bit of faith to move people around you, right? The people you work with, the people you interact with. So I think for us in the journey, and that's been our experience. And as we started working with us, we saw that our immediate social circle started responding to it,
Right.
and both as family and the professional family and the personal family, right? But there is no way I would have done anything that I've done in last 10 years if Jenny and I were not aligned on it.
Yeah.
We went through a
Good
very
that.
rough patch, extremely rough patch, but there was an alignment.
Right.
I think sort of we both had that burning in our hearts to do something about it. And we had to make some really tough decisions in that journey. But trusting God and then kind of Jenny really believing in it more than me, because it was easy for me because I was in midst of it. But for Jenny to be a third person here and say, yeah, go after it, right? You know, God's put this in front of you, go after it, was a big thing, right? So for that, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. You know, one of the significant things that happens in when you grow, just let you know that the lives that are being impacted, I mean, what Satish mentioned, thousands of life and 35 cities, is an organization called UNI. Right? UNI is an organization that is being, you can check them out online. They've been absolutely a huge blessing to many people. And I think the work that they do is tremendous. And now they've been on this growth journey. And how many volunteers have been through the
Right
journey?
now, well, through the journey, maybe about 15,000 volunteers.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's 15,000 when I say someone who's given 1 year's commitment.
Right. That's wonderful. Yeah. 15,000 young people who been involved with them for 1 year is quite significant. So if today you're doing this and you moved on this journey that you felt that you didn't know initially, but now you got onto this journey and God has designed you and shaped your life so beautifully so that you can meet the people's needs. Here is my question. What keeps you going? What keeps you going and being at it? Because one thing is very clear, all right? A lot of people have this, like, oh, I couldn't go abroad. I couldn't do this. This didn't work. My business didn't work. But I'm here in this space now of helping people. And helping people, I know, is a great thing, but there are better things also that can happen to you.
Sure.
All right? But with all those disappointments, I won't call it disappointments, but wishes that we all have, right?
Sure.
And today you are in this space, totally committed to doing what you're doing. What keeps you going? What drives you? What is your philosophy, your principle, or a vision that keeps you going?
Yeah. I think the simple thing is knowing your why, right? And the John Maxwell said this, and I truly believe this. Anything worthwhile is uphill, right? Anything you want to achieve that's worthwhile is going to be uphill. It's not going to be easy. If it's easy, then you've not really stretched yourself. Right. You're not really testing your full potential. Right. So it is an uphill journey, and there are going to be tough days, and there are going to be tough seasons. But if you know your why when you're going through it, you'll hang on to it. And I have those tough days, maybe 2-3 days a week are tough days, right? I get up and say, how, why, right? And I'll tell you about one of the days. It happened a few years ago. In fact, this happened just as we were coming out of that recession. Recession was tough, and we were losing money by month. And we were trying to sort of also grow UNI.
Right.
And midst of all this, I came to a stage where I kind of really hit that rock bottom and said, I can't do this anymore. And one day I got up and I had literally emotionally, physically had no energy to pull myself out of bed. I literally dragged myself out of bed, and we the first thing I had that day was I had a meeting with this social worker, and I went to meet her, and we were waiting for a couple of other people to come so that we could start the meeting. And she starts telling me about, she's in the anti-trafficking space, so she starts telling me about a 9-year-old girl that they had rescued a few days ago. And I'm sitting there and listening to the story, right, of a 9-year-old girl from West Bengal, doesn't have a mother, father is paralyzed, has a young sibling, and a neighbor's friend comes home and tells the father, hey, why don't you send your daughter with me? I'll take her to Bangalore. She can work there as a domestic help, and she'll make good money, and it will support the family. And father, out of desperation, sends his daughter, and this fellow brings her to Bangalore on a train for a couple of days, right? And all through those 2 days, she's sitting in his lap, his hands are all over her body, brings her to Bangalore, and she's staying in his house, right, with wife and children. And he wakes her up every night, 9-year-old girl, and rapes her. And eventually he takes her to work in someone's house, and thankfully, they look at her and say, hey, she's so young, she can't work here, please take her back. And she starts crying and saying, please don't send me back, this is what is happening to me. And thankfully that couple had the sense to do something about it. They immediately called the social worker, and this girl was rescued. So the social worker is telling me all this the whole story, and then she tells me where they placed that girl, right? And when she mentioned the name of the shelter home where this girl was staying now, it was as if I was hit by a bolt of lightning, because I realized we work in that home. And that 9-year-old girl is one of the girls we work with. So I'm sitting there with all these clouded thoughts of how can I go on? Why should I go on? Where is God in all this? And then this hits me, right? And that is my why, right? And I sitting there in the meeting, I said, God, as long as these kids are out there,
Right.
I don't need another why, right? So when you have tough days, you got to go back to your why.
True.
Right. So having that why was extremely important.
Right. Yeah, I think that's very important. I mean, we need to figure out why we do what we do. And thanks for sharing that. I mean, that is really important for us to understand the things that you do and why you do what you do. So looking back, we know the journey, but looking ahead, what does it look for you? What is the dream? In the sense, what I'm asking is like, if probably 15 years down the line or 20 years down the line, what would you want to be known by? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? Things that are there in your mind.
Sure. Yeah. You're getting this on the camera, so it's scary.
Yeah,
I'm going to,
that's a dream. So
that's a dream, right? So in my journey, what the number one thing that we have learned is there's a reason why our organization is called You and I. Because what we've learned through our journey is that it's literally you and I who can make the difference, right? It's just about we rolling our sleeves and saying, hey, we want to get involved. We want to get our hands dirty. Sometimes we, for everything in life, there are specialists, right? If there's some good needs to be done in church, there are pastors, right? There are outreach teams.
correct.
Right? But it's about we getting involved, it's on us. And that's very important, right? And what we have realized, because we went down that path, we realized that especially today's generation, they get it. They want to be involved. They are socially aware. They have the capacity, unlike probably our generation where we had to figure out our roti kapda makan.
Right.
Today's generation have the capacity and that awareness to get involved, right? And our message really is that, hey, let's get involved. Let's do something, right? As I said, we're roughly at about 15,000 volunteers. But the vision is that in 10 years, we want to hit 1 million volunteers.
Wonderful.
Right? We want to make volunteering something that everybody feels, hey, we can do this. Right? And there's a space and there is experience created where somebody can come and say, wow, that was good. I want to do it again. And that's really the vision that we have for the next 10, 15 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And once you have so many volunteers, automatically the impact will
Absolutely.
absolutely multiply. And then that's going to be a great blessing to what's the blessing to the evils that are happening to this nation. I think we can handle much more and do a lot more. Satish, thank you very much for sharing your journey. Friends, I want you to check out UNI website, the work they do. I want to encourage you to get involved. I mean, absolutely a great organization with some great people leading it with a great vision. And in case you have any questions, how to, you could put it in the comments or get onto the website and or any social media handles of UNI, and just put in a comment there. They will immediately get back to you. But I highly recommend the organization, and I totally believe in what they do. Satish, thank you very much for sharing your journey, and I'm sure this journey is going to be inspiration for many. Thank you, and God bless you all.